Hi and welcome to Deeks Music. This is the first of 7 tutorial videos to show you how to play some of the top piano riffs of all time. Number 1 is Imagine by John Lennon. One of the fundamental things about this riff is it uses what we call broken chords. A broken chord is where we take the notes of a chord. A chord just means to play several notes at the same time. And when we play broken chords, rather than playing all 3 or 4 notes at once, we break them into 1s and 2s. And there are loads and loads of different patterns that people use. So it could be individual notes, one at a time. So that's taking the notes of several chords and playing them one note at a time. But a common way to play a broken chord on piano is to have a pair of notes and one, alternating. And Imagine by John Lennon is a classic example of that. So rather than playing all 3 notes at once, a C, an E and a G, we break them into a pair and an individual note. And that pair of notes is what we call a third apart. Don't worry too much about understanding necessarily what that means, but it's a very, very common shape in music, and this riff uses a lot of them. So if we look at the main riff, pair of notes, single note, pair of notes, single note. And those 3 notes at the end that are right next to each other on the piano, the A, a B flat and a B, we would use the term chromatic to describe that little run of notes. Again, don't worry too much about what that means at this stage. It's just good to get some terminology. That's a little chromatic run of notes, notes that are right next to each other. There's no notes in between. So I'll show you that main riff again. And that first part of the riff happens 3 times, and the 4th time it's very, very similar, but it doesn't have the little chromatic run at the end. So with a C and an F in the left hand alternating, if we put those together, you get the main part of the classic Imagine riff. 2, 3, 4. Again. One more time. And then the last time doesn't have the chromatic run at the end. And that's the introduction and verse for Imagine. So I hope that helps you. Go away and have a practice. Remember, you're learning some terminology there. Broken chords, where we take the notes of chords and play them either individually or in pairs and ones. We've talked about the word chromatic, which is where we have a run of notes next to each other with no notes in between. So that's the first of these 7 tutorial videos on how to play 7 of the greatest piano riffs of all time. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more information. Or if you want to get in touch, it's hello@markdeeksmusic.com, and I'll see you soon with your next tutorial video.